Now, Manny has a lot of experience, at the highest level and competing at the highest level. And that makes this that much more interesting. But like I said before, there's no blueprint on how to beat Floyd Mayweather. And he can tell you that himself.
He's older than me. I'm still young, so and I'm always active with this sport. So what I have done and accomplished in boxing, I think it's one of a kind, because to get a different weight division is not that easy. I'm just saying this to repeat, you might forget that accomplishment. So to be the greatest boxer in the world is to know how to of course be compassionate and to show the people that you're really a fighter.
Well, we all live our lives the way we want to live our lives. Everyone in this room have family, have friends. But when it comes to this, when it comes to boxing and competing and being the best, I'm not here to talk about what you did on the outside. I'm not here to talk about what nobody else did on the outside.
The blockbuster rematch between Floyd Mayweather and Manny Pacquiao is no longer just a rumor whispered in boxing circles. It's building real heat, picking up steam, and pulling the sport back into a spotlight it hasn't felt since their first collision exploded into that staggering $600 million megafight that stopped the world in its tracks.
You know what's going on inside that square circle? I'm the best. No matter how you rate it, no matter how you cut it, no matter how you slice it, no matter if you go to 100 years back, 300 years back, all the way to now, there's only one best.
Manny Pacquiao says the moment has finally aligned, that the timing feels almost poetic for a rematch with Floyd Mayweather, explaining that as Mayweather quietly gears up for yet another return from retirement, he too feels the fire building again, his body strong, his mind sharper than ever, and his condition reminding him, and the world, that some rivalries don't fade with time, they wait for the perfect second chapter.
Now, 11 years after the first fight, why is now the right time for this rematch?
It just happened that I'm still active in boxing, and he come out from retirement, so and he decided to do it again. So this is it. Like I'm so excited for.
Netflix has officially dropped the bombshell the fight world has been holding its breath for, confirming that Floyd Mayweather and Manny Pacquiao will finally collide again on September 19th, 2026. And in an instant, the announcement ripped through the boxing community like a shockwave, igniting debates, waking old rivalries, and sending fans into a frenzy as whispers of a record-breaking performance grow louder by the hour, hinting that history might be rewritten under the brightest lights once more.
Mayweather Jr. and Manny Pacquiao will rematch coming up this year, September 19th in Las Vegas at the Sphere. 11 years after their first fight in May of 2015, that still holds the record for the biggest pay-per-view of all time in the world of boxing and the biggest gate ever for a boxing event. But the platform is not Showtime Boxing, not Paramount Plus, not DAZN. The platform will be...
Their first encounter in 2015 wasn't just a fight. It was a global event that felt bigger than the sport itself. Widely hailed as the biggest showdown boxing had ever witnessed, it didn't just break records, it obliterated them, shattering pay-per-view numbers and rewriting revenue history as the entire world seemed to pause and watch. Under the neon glow of Las Vegas, Floyd Mayweather outmaneuvered Manny Pacquiao in a clash that had been years in the making, and when the final bell echoed through the arena, it didn't just signal victory. It sealed a cultural moment that spilled out of the ring, beyond boxing headlines, and straight into the pulse of mainstream entertainment, where it lived as spectacle, controversy, and history all at once.
It comes 11 years after their first fight in 2015, which, like I mentioned, is still the biggest pay-per-view to date in the world of boxing, the most pay-per-view buys, followed by Mayweather versus McGregor, as well as the biggest gate. And honestly, that first fight, I was there in person. I lived it. I followed Manny around pretty much the whole entire camp. The buzz and the buildup for it has still been unmatched. even that fight week, the buzz and the buildup is still unmatched. Like the amount of press members that went to cover that fight that week, like usually like they set up a press room, and that press room was freaking packed the first day we got there, which was on a Tuesday. Still, I've been to hundreds and hundreds of fights, the biggest fights, and I've been doing this for a long time now. That's still the amount of attention, the amount of buzz has yet to be matched. In case you needed to be reminded, Manny and Floyd fought back in May of 2015 in what was literally, and this word gets used over and over again, fight of the century. All these other fights that have happened since this Mayweather Pacquiao fight, and they try to label themselves fight of the century, it's all cap. It doesn't matter. This literally, Mayweather and Pacquiao, the first fight, was the fight of the century. I got photos, I got videos, I got texts from people in San Diego, in other cities, waiting outside of bars. They were outside in the streets, huddled together, trying to watch the fight, not even in the bars, in the establishments. So that tells you like how big that fight was.
Manny Pacquiao admits the first battle with Floyd Mayweather was more than just 12 rounds. It was a lesson written in sweat, patience, and missed opportunities. And he insists those hard-earned lessons are exactly why this chapter will look different. He says he understands a rhythm now, the traps, the mental chess that unfolded that night, and believes that experience has sharpened him in ways youth alone never could. Both men, he explains, are no longer the same fighters who stepped into that ring years ago. They're older, wiser, more measured, carrying scars that taught them discipline instead of doubt. And this time, as the rematch looms closer, Pacquiao makes it clear he wants no distractions, no lingering controversies, no unfinished business outside the ropes, only clarity, focus, and a clean shot at rewriting the ending that once slipped through his grasp.
It's going to be a first-of-its-kind event. The last time you and Mayweather stepped into a ring, it was 2015, over a decade ago. Is there anything you can learn from that fight heading into September's bout?
Oh yeah, I learned a lot on that fight. Way back 2015, I think we become mature right now and how to handle it, and like, you know, I hope that it will not happen again, like the way it is last 2015. You know, it's the experience is like not really 100%, but I'm hoping for this time around no more excuses, especially to my condition and also for everything. Like I'm so excited and ready.
They call him Pac-Man for a reason, but even legends bleed, and Manny Pacquiao has openly confessed that when he stepped into that 2015 showdown with Floyd Mayweather, he wasn't the unstoppable force the world expected. Behind the bright lights and billion-dollar buzz, he was carrying something no one could see. A right shoulder injury suffered in training, a silent limitation that dulled the sharpest weapon in his arsenal. Every punch he tried to unleash came with hesitation, every combination slightly restrained, as if his body refused to fully cooperate with his will. Fans saw a tactical battle, a chess match at the highest level, but beneath the surface was a fighter wrestling not just with his opponent, but with pain, with frustration, with the haunting thought of what might have been had he walked in at 100%.
You mentioned not being 100% the first time around. I think it was a shoulder, right? Was it a shoulder issue that you were fighting through, popped up during training? To the fans who are excited about this, but a little bit worried about another injury coming up, because we're all 11 years older than we were back in 2015. To them and their concerns, you say what?
Well, both of us are disciplined fighters, so him and me, we taking care of our body, and we always work out almost every day and playing basketball like that. So right now, I still can fight. Like I feel like I'm still young. I mean.
Yeah.
Floyd Mayweather isn't just talking about a comeback. He's already living it, slipping back into serious ring training as he prepares to close the chapter on a 9-year retirement and step between the ropes once more this year. The gloves are back on, the rhythm returning, the familiar sound of leather snapping through the gym air, echoing like a warning shot to the division. He's grinding through workouts, sharpening timing, rebuilding that signature precision that once made him untouchable, and he's letting the world see it too, sharing flashes of training footage that feel less like highlights and more like a statement. After nearly a decade away, the question isn't whether he remembers how. It's whether the sport is ready for what happens when he proves he never forgot.
Watch it. I step back like I have my distance. That's why I step. See, I have my distance. Fighters don't know their distance. You gotta know your distance.
Former world champion Timothy Bradley Jr. didn't hesitate when asked about the looming rematch between Floyd Mayweather and Manny Pacquiao. He leaned in and called it exactly what he believes it is. With Netflix backing the spectacle, Bradley says the platform isn't just investing in punches thrown inside a ring. It's investing in moments, in nostalgia, in headlines that travel far beyond boxing purists. In his view, this isn't about proving who the better fighter is anymore. That chapter, he suggests, has already been written. This time, it's about the draw, the dollars, the drama, a collision built as much for entertainment value as for competition itself, and whether fans are watching for legacy or simply for the thrill of seeing two icons share the spotlight one more time.
I just got notice that Manny Pacquiao Mayweather about to go back at it in September. So a lot of guys coming out of retirement getting that Netflix money. Netflix is willing to pay for content, man, especially if you're popular. You know, they did Jake Paul. Jake Paul opened his damn door. Got to give it up for him. He opened his door. And Mike Tyson. They've done other events as well. You know, Katie Taylor and Serrano as well. However, I was thinking De La Hoya was next. De La Hoya, you coming out of retirement? Clap back Thursdays. Nah, bring your ass out of retirement.
Instead of leaning on the traditional pay-per-view blueprint, Netflix is flipping the script entirely, turning its vast global reach and powerhouse subscription base into a launchpad for something far bigger than a single night of fights. This isn't just about selling access. It's about unlocking waves of commercial momentum through new subscriptions, premium sponsorships, exclusive merchandise drops, and international exposure that stretches across continents in real time. The platform understands the spectacle, the nostalgia, the curiosity pulling fans back in, and it's positioning the event as more than a bout. It's branding it as a worldwide happening. With anticipation building and headlines multiplying, the night is already being touted as one of the biggest sporting events of the year, not simply for what happens in the ring, but for the cultural and commercial ripple effect that could follow long after the final bell fades.
We'll say the biggest fight in boxing history, you know, if you don't adjust for inflation, et cetera, or tickets sold, et cetera. You know, Joe Louis and Max Schmeling, the rematch, Ali and Frazier, the first fight. These were the biggest fights in boxing history. But Mayweather and Pacquiao was easily the biggest fight of its era, of the generation. And it was the highest grossing fight of all time.
Sure.
Because it had 4.4 million pay-per-view buys at $100 a pop. Do the math, right? It's interesting because Netflix is obviously in the business of, you said, eventizing.
Yes.
They want enormous events that become shared experiences in a way in this day and age, partly because of delivery systems of content like Netflix. Everything is so niche, you know, everything is so compartmentalized that there's very few shared experiences. It's one of the reasons that the NFL is such a big deal, because the NFL can get tens of millions of people to watch the same.
Many fans and commentators now look at Floyd Mayweather's return and see more than just gloves and training. They see timing, strategy, and money moving behind the scenes. A lot of voices argue that his comeback feels less about chasing competitive glory and more about chasing another massive payday, especially when you look at his track record of headline-grabbing exhibition fights and the spotlight he's consistently embraced outside the traditional rankings. His luxury lifestyle and public persona only fuel that narrative, making critics question whether the motivation is legacy or leverage. Supporters, however, see it differently. They believe it's simply a fighter who understands his brand and knows how to turn demand into opportunity. Either way, the debate itself has become part of the story, adding another layer of intrigue to every step he takes back toward the ring.
A gambling problem. Of course, his situation's unstable. I mean, this is about as predictable as anything I could imagine. Steve, how old is Floyd at this point?
47, and he has not had a real fight since 2015 when he beat Berto. Then he had the foray against Conor McGregor 2017, and he's done some exhibitions. And I don't know if you know this, Jason, but he actually made an official announcement with a press release. I'm unretiring. Get this. After my exhibition with Mike Tyson in April.
I heard this, yeah.
So that's in the Congo, Rumble in the Jungle Part 2. But yeah, it's for the money. If you, just Google Floyd's name and the IRS. All the news is out there. He owes jewelers money. There's back paid rent for real estate in New York. It's clear that he is now part of the no money team, which is very ironic. And why?
Floyd Mayweather is now entangled in a major legal battle tied to his financial affairs, taking bold action against former business associates and promotional partners as allegations surface over missing earnings and disputed deals. Reports suggest he has filed suit claiming that his longtime advisor Al Heyman, along with Showtime Sports, were part of a structure he believes deprived him of hundreds of millions of dollars over the course of his career, pushing him to seek accountability and recover what he argues is rightfully his. What once looked like a powerful partnership now unfolds in courtrooms instead of conference rooms, turning financial trust into legal confrontation. As the claims move through the system, the dispute adds yet another dramatic chapter to a fighter whose battles today extend far beyond the ropes and into complex corporate warfare over legacy and money.
A couple of things, if you look at the article on Boxing Scene, something doesn't smell right about it. A couple of things that don't smell right is it's 10 years after the fact. There are an army of attorneys, lawyers, accountants making sure boxers get paid at Floyd's level. And the idea that Floyd could be in a position where he's starting to run out of money and is looking for a reason that this money isn't his anymore. Paulie, what the first thing that jumps out at you about this amount, about the timing, about everything about this lawsuit, what jumps to your mind first, Paulie, when you think about it, as a boxer on the inside?
What jumps to my mind first is probably the beginning is the 10 years later.
Yeah, same.
I'm very curious about, I mean, I don't want to say the veracity, because obviously that's the strong word to use in this situation, because this could...
Meanwhile, Rolly Romero has jumped into the rematch conversation, echoing the growing chorus of fighters and influencers who believe Floyd Mayweather would once again find a way to outmaneuver Manny Pacquiao if they meet in 2026. Even without having stepped in the ring against either legend himself, Romero's public backing of Mayweather reflects a broader sentiment across parts of the boxing community that defensive brilliance, ring IQ, and elite experience still give Floyd an edge at this stage. That belief is mirrored by voices like Conor McGregor, who has also predicted Mayweather will secure another victory, adding fuel to the narrative that the unbeaten pedigree and tactical precision remain powerful factors. For many fans, the discussion underscores how this potential fight lives at the intersection of legacy and spectacle, where prediction, promotion, and personal opinions shape expectations just as much as actual competition inside the ropes.
I don't think anyone was expecting that, was they? Seems like things can happen very quickly.
Was it correct that you were in talks with Manny Pacquiao at one point? How far did they get?
I mean, you didn't see Sean Gibbons then call me out like I don't know how many times, all that stuff, right? It just, it's complicated.
Oscar De La Hoya has stepped into the prediction game for the looming rematch between Floyd Mayweather and Manny Pacquiao, and he's firmly siding with Floyd to emerge victorious once again. De La Hoya points to Mayweather's unmatched defensive craft, the rare ability to slip, block, and frustrate opponents while dictating the rhythm of every round, as the defining factor that has kept him nearly untouchable throughout his career. Beyond defense, he highlights Floyd's elite ring intelligence, that split-second awareness that allows him to read patterns, anticipate attacks, and counter with surgical precision. In De La Hoya's view, it's not just athleticism that separates Mayweather from the rest, but timing and control, qualities that, if they show up again, could tilt the balance in another high-stakes chapter of this legendary rivalry.
You have to understand is he's always taken care of himself, his body, physically, mentally. He's always been very sharp and always staying in the gym and doing something physically, right?
Mm.
That's the big advantage he has. I mean, he's an athlete. He's a world-class athlete. Watching Pacquiao's last fight, yeah, you kind of feel bad. You kind of feel bad for him, and even though he did win and he did, I guess, pull off a surprise in his last fight with a draw against the world champion, but still, you tend to kind of like feel bad because it's not the same Pacquiao. It's definitely not the same Pacquiao I faced. That's for sure. The one that put me on my stool in the 9th round.
Beyond raw skill, Oscar de la Hoya emphasizes that it's Floyd Mayweather's experience at the absolute highest level that ultimately separates him, the countless championship battles, the elite opponents, and the constant adjustments that have defined his career. In his view, Floyd has consistently proven he can adapt in real time, neutralize threats, and control fights no matter the style across from him. He acknowledges that Manny Pacquiao remains a living legend with explosive speed and dangerous power that can shift momentum in seconds, but argues that Mayweather's layered defense, sharp strategy, and veteran instincts still make him the clear favorite if they meet again. For de la Hoya, it's not just about physical tools, it's about accumulated knowledge inside the ropes, and that edge, he believes, belongs to Floyd.
It's an okay night for boxing.
Who would you back? Who do you think would win it? If it's a real fight, because that's what Pacquiao wants, it seems.
Yeah, I think Mayweather will. Mayweather.
David Benavidez has never shied away from speaking his mind on boxing's biggest storylines, and when it comes to the noise surrounding Manny Pacquiao's return and the potential rematch with Floyd Mayweather, the tone would likely be respectful but measured. He would acknowledge Pacquiao's legendary status and the emotional pull of seeing a champion step back into the spotlight, something fans will always celebrate, but he would also raise honest questions about effectiveness at this stage of his career, especially with age naturally slowing even the greatest fighters down. At 47, Pacquiao isn't the same explosive force he once was, and that reality shapes expectations. Meanwhile, Mayweather's elite movement, razor-sharp ring IQ, and undefeated record continue to fuel the argument that he holds the clear advantage on paper. In Benavidez's view, legacy matters, but timing and current form often decide outcomes.
About there's reports saying that Floyd may do a professional fight.
What did you say?
There's word that potentially Floyd might come out and do a professional fight.
Oh yeah?
What's your thoughts on it, as a fan?
I mean, as a fan, I feel like I see what they're doing. They see like the influencer just turned it into like, I'm not gonna say a whole circus show, but I feel like they see if these people can come in here and make all this money, then why can't the legends of boxing do that? I feel like they're all the legends of boxing looking at them like that. And I don't have a problem with them coming back and fighting, but I mean, it's not as exciting as it once was, you know what I mean? I mean, Floyd Mayweather's Floyd Mayweather, but who is he gonna fight? I mean, unless he fights Pacquiao again, I would love to see that.
How do you think a Pacquiao-Floyd rematch would go?
I don't know, but I would love to see it. I mean, if Floyd Mayweather is still who he is, I think Floyd Mayweather will win, but I don't know, we have to see. You know, they're both older guys. I think Floyd is 50. You know what I mean? And I'm not trying to disrespect in any type of way, but he's a 50-year-old man. You know what I mean? Pacquiao is a 48-year-old.
Like David Benavidez and many other analysts, a growing number of boxing voices argue that from a pure sporting perspective, there's little urgency for another showdown between Floyd Mayweather and Manny Pacquiao. Their first encounter ended with a clear, unanimous decision, with Mayweather controlling the pace and earning victory on all three judges' scorecards, a result that left little debate about who prevailed that night. Critics often point out that while the fight delivered record-breaking commercial success, it didn't quite deliver the high-level back-and-forth drama many fans had imagined, as Floyd's defensive brilliance effectively limited Pacquiao's offensive rhythm. Given that decisive outcome, and the fact that both fighters are now well past their physical primes, many commentators feel a second meeting isn't necessary to settle any unanswered questions inside the ring, even if the financial upside and global attention make it hard to ignore.
On one end, the cynical side of me goes, wait, what? Why? They fought the first time, okay? Like that chapter was closed. We got a definitive winner. It was Floyd. Floyd definitively won. The fight wasn't as competitive as we all thought it was. And that's that, right? Even though Manny did say after the fight that he suffered a shoulder injury prior to that and that he couldn't really use his shoulder too much. But you know, it's a strange time that we're in right now in boxing with some of these fights that we're getting. The reason why I'm a little mixed is, yeah, you know, that's the cynical side of me, but the other side of me is a little bit partial to Manny in terms of what I just listed right there with the shoulder injury. You know, he went into that fight with the biggest pay-per-view of all time, the biggest probably viewing audience of all time in terms of a fight. And
veteran analyst Simon Jordan has also poured cold water on the idea that a rematch between Floyd Mayweather and Manny Pacquiao carries genuine sporting urgency. He points to their first meeting as evidence, a clear, decisive win for Mayweather that already settled the competitive debate on the scorecards. Jordan adds that Pacquiao's recent performances suggest a fighter approaching the final stretch of his career, while Mayweather has largely operated in exhibition settings rather than high-stakes championship bouts. From his perspective, the driving force behind the rematch isn't athletic progression, but business strategy. He argues that platforms like Netflix view sport through the lens of entertainment, investing in headline-grabbing attractions to boost subscriptions and global visibility. With its massive international reach, even a modest spike in new users can justify the financial commitment. Jordan concludes that the fight will undoubtedly ignite conversation and deliver strong viewership numbers, but commercially fueled excitement rather than competitive necessity defines this chapter of modern boxing.
Its unbeaten record and the professional status of the bout add any intrigue to this at all?
No, not really. I don't think so. I mean, Manny Pacquiao's had a fight recently, hasn't he, against Mario Barris, who's just lost his title to Ryan Garcia, deservedly so. And that was a draw in which most people saw Pacquiao at the end of his career, saw what was left of him, and were not too happy that he came back again. Floyd Mayweather has had a variety of different bouts. I mean, I hear that he's going to fight Mike Tyson. I don't understand what that thinking is. Or an exhibition. We've seen him fight and hold up Conor McGregor in an exhibition fight. It's Netflix building entertainment models around sport. Sport is entertainment. It crosses over. Netflix have got a proven model of success that ultimately they invest some money into these sort of things, whether it's Jake Paul versus Mike Tyson or Jake Paul versus Anthony Joshua. They'll look at their lifetime value of their average subscriber, not every subscriber, but their average subscriber, and then they multiply it by the amount of subscribers they think they're going to get as new ones.
Manny Pacquiao recently addressed the growing buzz surrounding Floyd Mayweather's exhibition with Mike Tyson and the anticipation building around their potential rematch later this year. Pacquiao acknowledged Tyson's legendary power and said any fighter stepping into the ring with someone like Mike has to show real respect for the danger he brings, even in an exhibition setting. But when the conversation shifted back to Mayweather, his tone changed to confidence rather than concern. He made it clear he's preparing for a true competitive battle, not a showcase event, and that his focus is on rewriting history by aiming to hand Floyd a defeat that would mark a turning point in their rivalry. While recognizing Tyson's knockout threat, Pacquiao's attention remains locked on Mayweather, fueled by belief in his experience, discipline, and determination to prove he can change the outcome the second time around.
Win Mike Tyson or Floyd Mayweather?
It depends. If Mike Tyson will train hard, then.
Do you think it will happen?
Just one punch.
We thought you were fighting Floyd. What happened with the Floyd fight? We thought you were fighting Floyd. What happened in the rematch? We thought you were having a rematch with Floyd.
Oh, just we'll see.
What do you think? Can Manny Pacquiao shock the world and pull off an upset, or will Floyd Mayweather's legendary defense and ring control once again prove too disciplined to break? It's a rivalry filled with history, pride, and unfinished debate, and this rematch could either rewrite the narrative or reinforce what we already know. Drop your predictions below. Who takes it this time?